2025. Yeah, are you ready? First of all, welcome their excellencies, all protocols observed. Thank you for your presence. You're over here and over here. We're very glad you could make it today. And also, all the other excellent people in the room, great that you're here today. We're in this beautiful dialogue space. We're going to have some interaction. We invited some great people. But let me start by introducing myself first. My name is Chantal Inen. I'm an entrepreneur, an impact entrepreneur, and I work in a variety of sectors, amongst which also the food sector, which I'm quite proud of. And last year, I was also in the top 50 women in sustainable finance. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yes, of course. We have to celebrate accomplishments, right? It's important. I would also like to get to know you. I mean, you already had some conversations back there, right, in the zone. Maybe you played some golf. Were the people who were playing golf already? No golf yet? Oh, there, okay. One played golf. Okay, great. But we're going to do a little game. It's very easy. I would like to know where you're from, which location. Where you came from today, actually. A city, a village. And on the count of 3, I would like you to shout it. So, as an example, I came from Amsterdam. 1, 2, 3. I say, Amsterdam! You know? And shout very loud. It doesn't have to be as high as I just did. Yes! On the count of 3, where are you from? I'm going to do 1, 2, 3! Great. I'm also curious how long you've been traveling. For example, stand up if you've traveled more than, let's say, 15 minutes. Stand up if you traveled more than 15, 15. Okay, 30, 45 minutes. Some people sit down. An hour, 1.5, 2 hours. 2.5. 2.5, okay. 3 hours. 3.5. Ooh, 3.5. Okay. 4. 4.5. 5. 5.5. 6. 6.5. 7. 7 hours. Applause. 7 hours. Well, that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. You decided to be here today. And it's essential, actually. It's important. Because there's quite some big developments in the world, right? And it also influences the food sector. There are things that are challenging, maybe within your own work, in your own field, what you're working on. But there might also be opportunities. And today we're going to take a deep dive into a variety of subjects that matter, like globally, on a macro level, but also on the level of your work. We're going to inspire you, we're going to have conversations. And today it's not about like having all these talks on stage and having you just listen to them, but we also really want to interact with you. So we're going to have some interviews, but I would also love to engage with you, to hear what you have to say. So speak up if you have the possibility to do so. Are you with me? Yes. Good. Great. Are you with me? Yes. Okay, great. So let's start by hearing some words. I'm just wondering if you right now look into these global challenges, forces you can say, but also how it influences your work. What kind of words come to mind? Can you just shout? For example, climate change, you know? But it could be anything, right? Do you have some words for me? Like what pops up in your mind? Like what kind of things like maybe worry you? Yes? Africa. Okay, first one. Perfect.
Trade.
Trade. I hear trade. Okay, trade. Food systems. Biodiversity. Yes. Again?
Vested interest.
Vested interest. Okay. Conflict. Trust. Equality. Nutrition. Water. Soil. Food safety. Seeds. Water. Health. Transport. Okay. What? Gender. Yes. Gender. Definitely. Okay. This is good. I like this. This sets the how do you say it? The vibe that I wanted to have right here. Very nice. So let's dive even more into food systems and food systems thinking, and also inclusiveness. I will do this with an amazing person, and like sometimes you meet these people that you're inspired by, but you're very also struck in a way, right? And this next person is a true expert. This person is the Director General's representative to Ethiopia for the International Livestock Research Institute and the Ethiopia CGR country convener. I would like to invite to the stage Namkolo Kovic. Welcome.
For a moment there, I thought you were going to dance.
You thought I was going to dance? You want me to dance? You want to dance? Can we have the music again? Great. So Namkolo, come a little bit closer. Great. So it's very impressive, your work, what you do. I mean, you traveled for more than 7 hours to be here, right? It's quite a thing. Let's dive into 2025.
Okay.
And also the context of the work that we're doing here when we talk about food security, right? So if you look at all these trends, things that are going on in the world, I'm really curious about your observations of what is at stake today. What is at stake today? It's a big question.
I think when it comes to food systems, quite a number of things are at stake. The first thing is that our food systems are not delivering the quality of diets that we require. It's either we don't have enough nutrients that we need, or we are consuming too much. A lot of children that are stunted, a lot of people that are overweight and obese. So we have these extremes and multiple forms of malnutrition. And I think of concern is the fact that it's a global challenge. But for the setting that I come from in Africa, we're seeing multiple forms of malnutrition. So stunting is still very high in young children, averaging around 30%. That's a lot of children that don't meet the growth standards that they ought to be at. But at the same time, we are on an upward trajectory on overweight, obesity, non-communicable diseases, all diet-related. So, yeah, our food systems are not delivering what they ought to, but they can, depending on what we do. But also complicated by the fact that the way in which we are currently producing the food that we are eating is also not sustainable. So, lots of challenges to deal with.
Yes, absolutely. And also, I've been reading even more because of this event, of course, about the food systems. And a word that came up is also that it's intertwined, right? That there's an interdependence.
Absolutely. There are really interdependencies. Even when we are in different parts of the world, we are intertwined. I mean, a very good example is I never thought I would have to worry about a war in Ukraine giving problems to us having enough food on the African continent. So our food systems are quite intertwined. And so as we think in terms of addressing challenges, we have to address those challenges and think about what we do in the locality will affect elsewhere. I mean, greenhouse gases, do they have a boundary? It doesn't matter where you produce them, the whole planet gets affected.
And I'm curious what your opinion is. Do you think this interdependence is a good thing?
It is a good thing in some ways because no one location can really produce everything that they need. So the interdependence implies I may be able to produce more here, but perhaps I can sell to my neighbor and stuff like that. So whether it is at the local level in the village or at the global stage, even within a country, some areas are better suited for certain things than others. So that interdependence, in a way, is a good thing because you are able to get things that you would not be able to get otherwise. Yeah. I come from a floodplain, in the Zambezi floodplain, and there are certain things that we cannot grow there, but in the neighboring province, we might be able to get food from there. So interconnection is not bad in of itself. I think it depends on how we address it.
Yeah. I think what is amazing about what you do is you travel around the world, you see all these examples as well, right? You just mentioned some, but can you mention some more examples of like how this intertwinedness helps for development?
Oh boy, there's a lot that is going on. I mean, just walking in here, seeing people drinking coffee. Has anybody seen any coffee bushes growing around in The Hague somewhere? And yet you wake up every morning and you run off to your coffee machine or whatever. And so where did that coffee come from? Those of us that are coming from a country like Ethiopia where the coffee is grown, we also are drinking the coffee there, but we do it a bit different from you guys. We have like a whole ceremony around it. So that's one just simple example that I can give. But if you go into the supermarkets, if you look at your fridge and you ask yourself and made an inventory of where each item you've got in your fridge came from, it will tell you how interconnected we are. Yeah. So trade then becomes a part of that. What we produce, how efficiently we produce becomes a part of it. Some produce more than others. Some are hungry, they don't even have anything to eat. And so we need to think about our food systems more holistically and think about what needs to happen under different contexts, because yes, every context is not the same.
Yes. And then if you, like, linking to what you just said, do you have examples of how these, let's say, trends are connected to, let's say, positive projects that you've seen that take on these opportunities to make it better? Like, do you have some examples of this?
I think the best example we have currently of efforts to try and make things better is through the whole UN Food Systems Summit and Food Systems Transformation process. It is the first time, I think, in the world where you have multiple countries talking about the same thing. We're all talking about food systems transformation. If I give an example of Ethiopia where I work, by the way, I am from Zambia, not from Ethiopia, but I work in Ethiopia, so it is my second home at the moment. So when I look at how we developed the food systems transformation pathway for Ethiopia, we had no budget. None of the institutions we were working with had a budget, but the issue was, what can we do with what we had, with where we are. So we were able to bring together multiple stakeholders, NGOs, government sectors, research institutions, universities, private sector, together to put in place multiple dialogues. I see my colleague, Lawrence Haddad there, who was unfortunate enough to be able to be drawn into that process as well from somewhere else. And really, the way in which that came together was very useful, because we were able to reach out to the researchers and say, what evidence do you have on Ethiopia? What is the relevance? We were able to get to government and say, what policy instruments do you have? What are the gaps? What are the challenges? We were able to talk to NGOs to say, on the ground, the work that you are doing, what kind of challenges are you facing? So together, we could come up with a transformation pathway that could address some of the key issues in there. Included in there is wanting to grow trees. And from a nutrition perspective, what we asked was, could half of those trees be fruit trees? And that response seems to be positive now, and they seem to be moving in that direction.
Great. Let's shift so that also the others, yes, great. So what was the accomplishment? You said trees? How many? Like, what was the result?
Oh, billions. I think
Billions?
they're counting about 40 billion now planted. Maybe about 60–70% survival rate. The target is more than 50 billion trees. Why I like that particular initiative is the following. When you look at Ethiopia as a country, one of the biggest challenges in terms of their contributions to greenhouse gas emissions is through deforestation. But it is also one of those where everybody can rally and try to do something about it. Mobilize communities to grow trees, mobilize school children to grow trees. It doesn't take much. And so you do what you can, and if development partners come in and inject additional momentum with the resources, then well, good. But in the meantime, you are moving in a particular direction. There are some indications now that they are beginning to see progress on more greening of landscapes.
Yeah. So you talk about mobilizing people, you talk about partnerships, right? Really working together. Also, if you look at the Netherlands and the role of the Netherlands, I'm just curious from your point of view, what should the role of the Netherlands be, you think?
Oh, the Netherlands has got a lot of lessons that we can learn from. For starters, you guys have got a big problem with nitrogen, I hear, right?
Nitrogen problem, yes.
And so, and we look to you for lessons, for example, in the dairy sector. Is it possible for us to learn from you and leave the nitrogen problem behind? And so in every context, there are things that you can do. The other thing is, I hear you have people living below sea level. Somewhere they say the Netherlands people have managed to tame the oceans. Well, if sea level is rising, perhaps everybody is going to have to learn to live the Dutch way below sea level. What lessons could we learn from there? Yeah. How can we anticipate some of these challenges? There's a lot that we can learn from one another. The other thing that I think I like in the Netherlands is the fact that, well, we normally talk about food-based dietary guidelines and we say they don't work, but I think we are beginning to see some signs here of them helping. Does anybody agree with me or disagree? There seems to be some signs that the food-based dietary guidelines in the Netherlands are beginning to turn things in the positive direction. Many other places in the world are saying they don't work. So what can we learn? So there's a lot that we can learn from here.
Later on, I would love to hear also from you what you think the Netherlands should do different. But first, I would like also to hear from the audience. Do you recognize what Namkolo says? Or maybe you have some questions for her? I would love to get some more perspectives as well. Yeah, up there, we have 4 amazing microphone runners. One is coming up to you right now. Yes, come over here, Namkola. Then we. What's your name and what is your question?
My name is Ferdi Beer. Oh, sorry.
Again.
My name is Ferdi Beer. I'm a United Nations ambassador, volunteer, self-paid and independent in Indonesia, and also for inclusion in the Netherlands. I have a topic maybe for Ethiopia and the whole African nations, and a question from Indonesia. How can Ethiopia scale up the farmers with innovative, sustainable farming and solutions with village and small cities cooperations to boost the local economies? So it's a question about city and small village cooperations.
Yes. So how can
to make more prosperity in Ethiopia for the locals?
Yes. How can we elevate small cities and farmers cooperation in Ethiopia?
Okay. First, let me start with the farmers' corporations and why there's interest in farmers' corporations. When you have millions of smallholder farmers, it is very difficult to provide services. It's sometimes difficult to reach them. It's difficult for them to have adequate volumes to serve a market. And so by aggregating them into clusters, they tend to talk more about clusters these days, or cooperatives, you can actually aggregate volumes for marketing purposes. So instead of having one little bag of coffee, we can have 10 bags from multiple farmers. Then it makes market sense for enterprises that want to come and buy produce. So it's easier to make those market linkages, but it's also easier for government extension services when you have an entry point through which to reach the farmers. That's where the advantage of bringing people that way is. Similarly, if you extend that from smallholder farmers to a small city, again, it's the same kind of economies of scale. If you can bring in elements of aggregations, you can help with market development.
Yes. What kind of help do you need from the Netherlands? What a nice question. What kind of support do you need?
Well, we need you to recognize the fact that we have challenges in terms of bringing together logistics of getting to markets and stuff like that. The Netherlands have been at it for, 500 years in terms of developing logistics. But you need to think how you can actually apply logistics at a small scale level within that context. So being able to think in that way, bring the knowledge of logistics, but contextualize it to the local reality.
I would love also to hear some more observations about what Namkola said earlier about trends and the intertwinedness. Yes, over there. Wait till someone comes up to you here. Yes. Great, if you could stand up and also say your name and then your observation or your question.
My name is Lotiful. I'm a recent PhD graduate from Wageningen University. I see in this room a lot of interest about Africa. And my question is that, for my knowledge so far goes, that Africa is the only self-sufficient continent that has gas, oil, land, and all natural resources people need to survive. But in that context, why Africa is not or cannot fulfilling its food security itself? Does Africa needs Europe or Europe needs Africa?
Can you repeat the last part? Because I couldn't hear correctly.
My question is that why is Africa failing to ensure its food security itself? And does Africa needs Europe or Europe needs Africa?
Okay, well, there's an assumption there, but we're curious to hear what you have to say. Why is Africa failing in food security? Do you believe that is true? What is your...
first of all, there are historical perspectives that we need to contend with. I'm sure you've heard about something called colonialism way back when.
Yes, yes.
Where a lot of the riches that you are talking about were being literally harvested from the African continent and shipped elsewhere, including Europe. So, in a way, Africa has contributed to the wealth that we see in the global north. So the arrangement at the time was collect, take, collect, take. But in today's world, things have to be different. We need a more two-way type of situation, better partnerships, better win-win scenarios is what we should be looking towards. And I think that's the direction in which we need to develop on. Now, on the food security side, if you look at the amount of food that is being produced on the African continent, over time it has actually improved. But localities have different situations. So then conflict comes or climate change issues come and you run into challenges. So we are seeing some galvanization of efforts on the African continent to try and address the food security issues. One of them is the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program through the African Union that multiple African countries are implementing. It is a very useful program because it creates momentum at continental level and not just at country level. So that is a positive thing. Does Europe need Africa or does Africa need Europe? We need each other. I really do strongly think we need each other. Right now on the African continent, as you have indicated, it is the area of the world that has the furthest to go in food production at the moment. And so how are we going to produce that food? Must we copy-paste the production practices from the global north? Or can we take a different trajectory and take on the lessons that have been learned and produce in a more climate smart way, in a more environmental way? We could copy-paste, and if we do that, given where we are with our planet, we're going off the cliff together. But we could take a different trajectory and take a more climate smart direction. And if we do that, we might save you in addition to ourselves. So we do need each other.
Yes. I really love your call to action in the togetherness. It's also about equal partnerships, right? That's what you talk about. I'm also curious to hear some words from you, like if you look at equal partnerships, like what is necessary? And we have this great Mentimeter thing, you probably know it, on your phones. There's a QR code. We would love to get some words over there. So together with Namkolo, we're going to see what comes out, and we can reflect on it as well. So what is the key element in building an equal partnership for you? What is the key element in building an equal partnership? I'm curious, Namkolo, what's going to come out?
Well, let's see.
You probably know.
I have no idea what will come out. But
there we go. So I'm going to mention just some words, and you can pick out one which you think like this is important. Trust, mutual respect, listening, decolonize, yes, transparency.
Okay, so can I pick on listening?
Yes, listening.
I want to pick on listening because of what I just said about developmental trajectories for the African continent. Right now, on the African continent, what we are seeing is a change of narrative that I would personally like the whole world to listen to. For a long time, we had a situation on the African continent where the political sentiment was around, don't bother us with climate change, you have messed up, now you want to stop us from developing. That narrative has shifted. It has shifted to, we want to develop, but we want to take a positive trajectory of development. We want to try and not be victims all the time. We'll do what we can. And if you want to help, please help us. Why I like that, and I'm saying listen, it is that it is a positive place where you have 54 African countries saying we want to move in a different trajectory. Why am I saying I really would like the world to listen? The reason is because the landscape currently is one where it feels like while Africa says we now want to develop in a positive direction and help you guys along, the rest of the world have turned around and faced the other way and they are saying, climate change, does it really exist? What's going on? So I would like the world to listen to the messages that are emerging out of Africa and come along with us.
Yes. Great, yes. A last question for you. How can the Netherlands, and like the stakeholders in the Netherlands, how can they listen better in creating equal partnerships? What can we do better?
One thing that you can do better, if you want partnership, think of the context where you want that partnership to happen. What are the challenges there? What are people trying to figure out? Low middle income countries do have development strategies. They do have policy instruments trying to tinker at all these challenges that we face. That should be the starting point. If these are the challenges and we want to partner within that landscape with those challenges, what can we bring along that will allow us to develop in such a way that we get win-win scenarios? If we don't do that, then there was a trust thing that was on the screen earlier on that was quite big. Then you run into trust issues and this one suspects that one and the other one suspects the other one and then we don't move.
Yes. Yeah. Trust and listening. Yeah. Thank you, Namkolo Kovic. You can use the stage. Amazing. Let's see also about the actors in the Netherlands. They're initiators from the World Food Day. We're gonna invite them to come on stage, the organizers, and to ask them also some questions. So I would like to invite to the stage Isabelle Vreke, coordinator for the FAO Team Lead for Food Security and Climate at the Dutch Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Nature. Thijs Woudstra, Head of Food Security and Nutrition at the Department of Inclusive Green Growth at the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And Ivo Demmers, Executive Director of Netherlands Food Partnership and host of World Food Day. How does it feel to be on this stage?
Well, actually, I want to take a picture. I have never seen such a stage setting, so I can show it to my kids.
But we
really are live here.
We have a photographer over there. You want to smile?
Yeah, I want to smile.
Yes, let's smile. This is very improvised.
There
right?
we are.
Hello. Yes. This was not part of the script, but that's okay.
Not script.
I like the improvisation. I'm really curious. We're going to have a nice conversation with you, also with the audience. Well, obviously, you all work on changing food systems. I have a question for you, Thijs. We saw all these words also about equality, partnerships, right? There are probably some words that struck you as well.
Yep.
You also work in low and middle income countries, as Namkolo also shared the importance of that. I'm curious, how do you work on equality?
on equality.
Yes.
Well, first of all, let's put things into a perspective. Africa, let's confine ourselves to Africa. Africa is a continent with around a GDP of 2 trillion. Investment is around 100 billion a year. Official development assistance is 60 billion. So and the Netherlands, what we did last 3 years was 1.5 billion in ODA. So if we want to take change, you cannot do without engaging in partnerships, do it together, and to get a notes for development. And that's what we have seen, and that's what we are trying to do, to create equal partnerships. And I like very much the remark we had on context sensitivity. Africa is not a living lab for our development interventions. Africa is our partner, and we should work together. We should know in what context we are working. So that's what we have taken aboard, and that's what we also want to do in our new development dimension, to find new partnerships, equal partnerships, and work together with the people in the lower and middle income countries.
But you talk about dimensions, right? New development dimensions. This also has quite some challenges, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in the Netherlands, but also worldwide, we see budgets are cut, for example. So, yeah, when you talk about like new efforts, like what concretely, like, do you mean then?
For instance, with African companies, with Dutch companies, public-private partnerships, African financial institutions, worldwide financial institutions, working together to solve the issues and to create some parts, because you cannot change a whole continent on your own, but find the solutions and let them replicate themselves as a flywheel for more food security. You know, this is a World Food Day, but at this moment still, food is a basic human right, but still at this moment 700 million people are being denied that basic human right. So the challenge is enormous, and we can only solve this challenge when we work really together.
Yeah. And then do you have a concrete example of what you do in your daily work, how you do it?
Well, we had Ethiopia. There's the Ethiopian Seed Partnership. We started together with the Ethiopian private sector and the Dutch private sector in order to enhance the quality of seeds. Because what do we see in food production? Seed and soil are key. And that's where we are trying to find the balances with the private sector and the Ethiopian private sector as well as the Dutch private sector to create better seeds for the smallholder farmers, yes, which still account for 70% of all food for everyone.
Yes, thank you. Also, Isabel, when you listen to this, you're also taking a lot of effort, right, in this field. How does this relate to your work?
Well, I think we are one government, so we are both from different ministries, but we work on the same in the same trajectory. And we, as a Ministry of Agriculture and Nature, also really work on equal partnerships. We focus, in addition to what Thijs said, because we're on the same page, also very much on demand-driven policies. Oh. So what we try to do in our interventions in the countries is really listen to local needs. An example is, for example, the bilateral agricultural working groups we have, for example, with Kenya or South Africa. We listen to the wishes and the needs of the local government and try to translate that into collaboration agreements, which are also mutually beneficial also for the Netherlands.
Yeah. Are there any of your colleagues in the room here as well?
Yes, I think so many.
Yeah?
I don't know where, but
Can you stand up? Can you just stand up for a sec, like 10 seconds? Yes, because then we also know for the rest of the audience, if you want to connect, then connect with them. If you want to see how you can elevate these collaborations, thank you. You can sit down again. Great. Let's do a little switch the clock. Yes, perfect. There we are again. Great. Yes. It's also about action, right, Ivo? And, well, we have here 2 clear examples of action that's been taken, but also coming together here on World Food Day, I think is quite essential. You have to look each other in the eye. I know the food sector, it's like when I come at these events, I always think people are very kind, very proactive, it's very friendly, very warm as well. What is the role of World Food Day in, like, creating these changes?
Well, for me personally, it's about learning, it's about exchange, and it's about actually taking it a bit step further away from listening, which is very important, but also making room to actually talk to each other, to have a conversation about it. So it starts with listening, but then exchange is the next step. And that's exactly what I think is happening here, also in the square just behind me. Connect, collect, communicate, and co-create. That's what's happening over there, and that's what's happening during all those sessions. And that's of the essence, as bringing trust and listening a step further, I think.
Yeah. Have you had a conversation already, or were you just here? Or just curious?
Only a couple of conversations.
Yes?
You have to ask my partners, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And another thing which I really hope is coming from today is new partnerships. New partnerships that will arise. And I know many of you are working on them. And without giving away too much, new partnerships will start today. And that's also why we invite you to also be part of the ending of the program today, where Pitch Your Partnership initiative will certainly deliver a couple of partnerships. So that's a little
yes.
a giveaway.
Absolutely, it's a nice suspense. Yeah. I'm also curious, always more on a personal level, why you do what you do, right? So for me, I feel very much engaged with all these different topics, and it really drives me to create change. And sometimes it can feel also as a struggle, I have to say, right? We're in this together, you want to change things, it doesn't go fast enough, there's all these trends as well. What keeps you going as well? I'm curious. It's a very open question. Yeah. Who would like to answer that?
No, I would like to answer that.
Yes.
Definitely what keeps me going is that I can see progress, that I can work with inspiring people, and also that I can see what is happening on the ground, that people change their livelihoods and also get a better livelihoods and see a better future. And I guess that's the thing that keeps me going, and that's also what I do like. And actually I have a team as well. Please stand up.
Yes, okay, team stand up. Yes, really good. Here we go.
So please engage with my colleagues as well. And indeed, we are all committed to the cause. So that keeps us going.
Great. And what keeps you going is also your team. Where are they? Stand up. World Food Day team, yes. Good. There they are. Connect with them. What about you, Eva?
Well, there's actually one thing more. Because you could say, and I really like today of all the different voices here in the room, not everybody agrees on every point with each other, and that's good. But still, it is a bit of preaching to the converted. So I think there's also a call needed to take this message, which we have and share today, also outside this room. This is not a call for elections per se, but it's an ongoing effort we need to make to stress the importance of working together in equal partnerships. Yeah. So please bring this also outside this room.
Yeah, and it's also important if you don't agree or you think there's different conflicts of interest, you speak your mind, right? Yeah. That's what should happen. Yeah. What about you, Isabel? What struck you? Like today you heard conversations, maybe certain things that, surprised you?
Not so many surprises, okay. But I agree very much with everything that has been said on equal partnerships, because we as the Netherlands and also as the Ministry of Agriculture, we present ourselves as leaders in agriculture, innovation and sustainable food production. But true change only comes from co-creating in partnerships, because we also have a lot of challenges, what's already mentioned before, ourselves. And I think with an open mind, we can not try to see everything through a Dutch lens. We can also learn from others around the world. I think that's a very important message of today.
Yeah, and it's a big change, right? I mean, I started, I think, around 13 years ago, also working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I knew back then it was really about, we know what's going on, we tell others what to do, right? And I hear a lot here, listen, we need to be open, we need to be transparent. I really like that. So thanks a lot for this nice conversation. Ivo, you stay, and I want to thank Isabel and Thijs. Give an applause to them. Yes.
It is nice not only to be on the same page, but also on the same stage.
That's a nice quote for your social media later. All right. You also said there's a little suspense for later. That's for later on. We will first have the sessions, then we will come back. We will talk about partnerships. We have a nice award ceremony. I'll explain later. But there's also another thing you're going to do. Taking action, right? You're going to accelerate.
Yeah.
Because that's also very much needed. Because we can set up all these initiatives. There's all these ideas in the world. And I think for most of the problems, there are already solutions, right? Amongst which technologies, ideas. But it's about acceleration.
Yeah.
About how can we scale it up.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a conversation about that with, and I'm going to have like a long title announcement. We have in the audience, and he will come on stage very soon, the Executive Director of GAIN, the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, with the mission to tackle malnutrition and transform food systems to be more nutritious, sustainable, affordable, and inclusive. He was made a World Food Prize laureate in 2018 for his groundbreaking research on reducing hunger and malnutrition worldwide. Give an applause to Lawrence Haddad. Now everyone expects you to dance as well. I don't know.
Do you want the bad news or the good news?
Give me good news.
The bad news is I'm not going to dance.
Okay.
The good news is I really like your shoes.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Great. So, a new initiative you're going to set up. You're working on it, right?
Yeah.
Tell us, like, what is this initiative about, Lawrence?
So it's called the Food System Accelerator. And it was really born out of a deep frustration, actually, of going to meetings like this. And you know, when you're on the circuit, it's really difficult not to go to lots of meetings like this. This one is different, it's newer, it's fresher. It has you moderating it, but most of the sessions I go to were on panels. You've all been on these, folks. You go to these panels, you fly across the world, you get 5 minutes on a panel, you're asked for some ideas, some thoughts. Everyone is happy with themselves, they all go home, and there's no urgency. There's no, oh my God, we have to move this forward faster. We have to get things going. People are dying because we're moving too slowly. So we decided 9 months ago to actually do something about it and try to set up an accelerator which shortens the period from food system idea to food system plan to actual investments that are funded that make a difference. So that's what it's trying to do. It's very simple in concept, speed things up. If you look at the indicators, they're all moving in the wrong direction. Yep. And the ones that are moving in the right direction are moving too slowly. So there are lives at stake. We did an analysis with the Micronutrient Forum. I don't know if any of the Micronutrient Forum colleagues in the room. We did an analysis that said, what are the impacts of the aid cuts on child deaths? 387,000 kids are going to die every year if the aid cuts are translated into nutrition cuts. So there's a lot at stake here. So we need to speed up. And we need to stop patting ourselves on the back that the pace we're moving at right now is okay, because it's not.
what I like about the accelerator, what you said, it's also about investments, because a lot of ideas start, and then when it started, it lacks of investments, right? Yeah. So that's this sort of breakthrough phase. So what's so different about this initiative compared to all the other sort of accelerators?
So let me give you an example. I don't want to name the government, but one of the governments in Africa came to GAIN, and they've come to FAO and others, and they've said, we have a strategy for food system transformation that's going to do the things that Namakolo said. It's going to reduce hunger, reduce malnutrition, improve climate resilience, it's going to create jobs, it's going to do all those things. Our priorities are agro-industrialization, food safety, improving value chains, being more climate resilient, better governance, putting WASH into agriculture. That's quite a shopping list of things to do. How do you convert that shopping list into tangible investments? And then how do you get the FMOs, the KFWs, the African Development Banks to actually fund that to make a difference? That process could take a decade if we don't speed it up, and it needs to be sped up. So that's really what it's about. Yep. And it's also, GAIN, of course, can't do that on its own. We're a medium-sized organization. So we want to work with NFP, we want to work with AFO, GIZ and others to defragment the space and bring everyone together to speed things up, working with governments who are really committed to do so.
Yeah. So how are you going to help to defragment? You're also one of the partners, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's about doing things faster, very important, and achieving more together. Especially if you look towards future-proofing our food systems, actually. You can only do that together, and that's what I immediately saw in the initiative of working together, not only in the Netherlands, but also internationally with all those organizations which are listed there and others. So the German Organization for International Cooperation is involved. AGRA, the Alliance for Green Revolution, is involved. African Union is involved. Scaling Up Nutrition is involved. GAIN is involved. And through doing that, I really believe we can do more and reach out and connect to the finance, which are still out there, but are more fragmented and smaller. So we need to work together to actually put the puzzles of the pieces of the puzzles together. And therefore we have to sit not only at the same page in the stage, but also on the same table, actually, to make the puzzle and the pieces of the puzzle fit together.
Yeah.
I mean, can I just...
Yes, if we just do a little circle.
Yep.
Yes, great.
I was... actually, my main challenge today is to not fall off the stage. So if I achieve that, I'll be happy. Yes, thank you. I was really surprised on the Mentimeter on partnerships not to see the word purpose there, because the word purpose, for me, it's the most powerful driver of partnerships. If you know what you're trying to do together, then your partnership will be powerful. And I think here, for the accelerator, the purpose is to construct and get financed serious programs, 100 million, 50 million, $200 million investments that are going to move the needle. Yeah. It's really easy to talk up here, and I do it all the time, I'm afraid. But it's really hard to get actions down here. I was telling someone earlier, I'm a director of my apartment building in the UK, and it took me 6 months to get the bins sorted out for the apartment building, to get the refuse bins, the recycling bins, to get the right number of bins, to get them moved into the right place, to get them emptied at the right times by the right people. 6 months to get the bins in my apartment working.
Yeah.
We need to speed up the pace at which investments are made in whatever it is. Yeah. The example another example I give you, again, I was in a meeting yesterday in Brussels, and we were talking about how governments have long lists of things to do. Food systems are very complicated, so they really need partnership from the technical agencies to work with their technical people to say, what's the key unlocking thing?
Yes.
The example we had yesterday, people were saying, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. And we eventually came to the conclusion that there weren't enough labs to test food safety. in the country. That was the thing that was driving everything else. So, okay, we figured that out, and then we have to create an investment that the development finance institutions can invest in, and that will make a difference.
Yeah.
That's another example. Testing of food safety. Sounds really banal, but it's really key.
And then, because there's visions, right? I hear you talk a lot about the visions, but also, well, I can see there's a lot of great innovative initiatives, but it's also how to get them together, right? I'm also curious, like, what are sort of like results you want, like a year or 2 years? Like, I mean, you talked about money, but how much impact do you want to make? Like, how many initiatives you want to set up, or like how much social impact you want to have? You have some ideas already?
There's actually two things. Maybe first, in continuation of Lawrence, your remark about investment. I think it's also about creating an enabling environment, difficult word, but to actually galvanize private investments as well. And so with the partners we're together at the same table, we can also piece that together. So also to enable actually a long change and a lasting change, not only driven by international public investments.
But how are you going to, I'm curious how you're going to do it, because also I think the private sector, the food sector, it could be connected a lot more, right?
Yeah.
So what are steps you're going to take?
For me, the essence is the local demand, actually working from equal partnerships, listening to what is actually needed and feasible in countries. Yeah. So that's the starting point. And then not forgetting to also take a look at regulations and laws. And we have examples, and I know it's a bit cheesy, but it is mentioned before. I think the cooperation we do on seed sector development is showing that you can also galvanize private investments, actually to contribute also to SDG 2, Zero Hunger.
Yeah, the seed sector, it's a really, really nice example that you give. About the audience, we have people here in the room, right? What is your question to them, how they can help you? I mean, we're not going to interact right now, but like how can I help you? But also, how can this help them? Like, is there, how can they follow this initiative, for example? Because you want involvement, right? Next to all these great partners on the slide.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, that's another reason why Netherlands Food Partnership stepped into the initiative, also to make the connection to what we know and what we have as expertise and experience in the Netherlands, actually to make that fit to the equal partnerships that will arise from the Food System Accelerator. So there will be questions coming from specific countries, and then we'll find out how we can actually make it fit, if there is a fit, on bringing in Dutch expertise, knowledge, and tools.
Yeah, and there's also, I see an email address there, right? So a QR code and email address. So if you want to be involved, if you have ideas, right, maybe as well, you can also connect there, right? Some last words, Lawrence?
I'll answer the same questions. Colleagues, don't accept the pace of change that we have right now. I'll say it again, don't accept the pace of change that we have right now. We need to move faster. A lot of us are at risk in the Netherlands and Europe in a different way from the crashing of the food system, the aid environment. But people elsewhere are even more at risk than we are. So we can't afford to be complacent, and we can't afford to be comfortable. We have to get out of our comfort zones. We have to talk to people we don't normally talk to. That's the first thing I would say. Second thing I would say is, if you know of countries, if you work in countries, if you are partnering with countries that you think would be open to working with the accelerator, please tell us.
Yes.
I think that's my final.
Yes, so you actually also, yes. Yeah. One more thing.
One more thing. Private sector, we need you. I don't know how many private sector people are in the room.
Yes, they are.
But we need you. We need you if you're an SME, if you're an...
Stand up, private sector, stand up. Yes.
We need you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're there.
But we don't need... Thank you for being here, guys, because you have actual jobs to go to that you're missing from. Thank you for being here, because we don't want your charity. Not that you would give it to us, but we don't want your charity.
Yes.
We want to create a business case for you to be investing in this. And it's very doable.
Yes.
GAIN works with lots of private sector, lots of companies in the private sector, and they work with us because it's in their interest to do so, not because they're doing us a favor. So I'm so pleased to see that you've made the effort to get the private sector folks here. And I'd like to see at least half the audience next year from the private sector.
Yes, we can use money as a mean to create impact, new business models, it's all possible.
It's money, but it's also the know-how, the connections,
Yeah, we're going to round it off. I want to round off with the last thing. You talked about personal leadership, because you say you also have to do things out of your comfort zone if you want to speed things up, right? So it's also about what are you going to do differently in the actions you take yourself, maybe reflect on yourself, to do things differently. So maybe when you get a no from a manager or whatever, you say, yes, it's going to be a yes. I'm going to do it, for example. This is a little bit of entrepreneurship from my side. Thank you for this conversation, the initiative. We're going to go into the sessions right now. Please wait a little bit on stage. Oh, you have. Do we have time for? No, I'm sorry, but maybe later when you come back, because we have to move on. I am on a tight schedule. I'm really sorry, but when we come back, I would like to give you the stage. All right? Thank you also for standing up.
Come and see us.
And come and see it exactly. I like this. This is important what you do. So I'm sorry that I cannot involve you because I want people to stand up. So this is uncomfortable for me. But okay, we need to move on because we go to the sessions actually. We go to the sessions. It's about call to actions. What are you going to do for yourselves? What are steps that you are going to take, which is also related to personal leadership? There's the zones here, the photo book, the golf as well. And session number 2 is in another area. So the ones who registered for session 2, it's in another area. Be aware. And also there's some nice tasting going on. And there's also an award ceremony. At 4:45. Come back, you will be inspired by very concrete examples of people who stand up and take the stage. It's really amazing what they're doing. So for now, an applause for our guests on the stage. Well, the host.
Thank you.
The host and the guests. Thank you, Lawrence. You can go this way. You can go this way. Yes. And enjoy the sessions.